Live on a beautiful Wednesday morning in Northeast Ohio, it is time for the Ultimate Cleveland Guardian Show. I'm Adam the Bull. He's Zach Meisel. And Zach, the Guardians are still alive with 18 games to go in 19 days in the regular season. Do you have faith right now?
I actually do. I do, Bull. Yeah.
And he's going to tell us why. Coming up in just a minute on the Ultimate Cleveland Guardian Show. You know, I've written the Guardians off twice this year, and I still, if I had to bet, would not bet on them making the playoffs. But they're playing some damn good baseball right now, and it's actually fun to see, especially the pitching lately. Been fantastic.
Yeah, this is giving me 2013 vibes. If you remember, the team was like solid. They were a little bit over 500 for a lot of that season. Terry Francona's first year in Cleveland, and then they turned it on in September. I think they went like 20-6. They won 10 in a row to end the regular season to snag a wild card berth. And you know, I look, like Fangraphs gives the Guardians a 10.3% chance of making the playoffs.
It was 8% yesterday.
Right, like Baseball Reference has them at 11%, and those have risen. I mean, I think like a week ago it was like 1 or 2. We can talk about the schedule and like chart a path to get there. It's on the table. But as you said, it's the brand of baseball. We're seeing the things we wanted to see all year.
Yeah.
Right. We talk about, or the team talks about so much. Oh, they're trying to balance contending and developing, and they've got this young roster every year. We have one of the youngest rosters in baseball, and it's like, well, that's cool the first year that you say that, but when it's like year 5 of it, shouldn't some of those young players be getting older and better? But you're seeing young guys take steps forward, right? Like Joey Cantillo to me is super intriguing, and I felt this way before last night's start. Just the way his stuff has looked, you know, the team tells him just please throw more strikes and we promise it's going to be great, and he's come back and he's done exactly that. And his ERA this year's 3.36.
It's amazing.
It's not fluky. Like the metrics back it up. So you're getting contributions from him, from Slade Ciccone, from Parker Messick. You know, we've talked about Kyle Manzardo and how, hey, there's a good development story there, right? So you're seeing Valera contribute. You're seeing CJ Kafis occasionally contribute. And it's just, you're finally seeing young players getting opportunities and taking advantage of them. And, oh, by the way, because it's mid-September and, you know, it's contributing to wins. So you are now contending and developing at the same time, which is what they've wanted to do all along. It just felt like for so much of the season, you know, neither of those things was happening.
You know, you bring up the 2013 team. The 2013 team, of course, won 10 in a row to end the season, and they were 21-6 in September. And this current Guardians team is going to have to do something similar to that, right? Because you're going to have to win. You got 18 games left. I mean, what's the worst they could do and make the playoffs? 12-6?
Well, do you want to go through this right now? Because I think.
Well, one other thing I wanted to say about the 13 before we go into this, I was there in the stands when Giambi hit the walk-off against the White Sox.
Yeah.
And I, you know, at that time, I'd only been here like 2 years, so I wasn't fully ingrained yet. And I felt like that was my welcome to Cleveland moment. People talk about that as an athlete. That was as a broadcaster, was my welcome to Cleveland moment, because I remember there wasn't a lot of people at the game, but those who were there, we were going nuts, and we were all like, everybody was high-fiving each other after that game. It was a lot of fun. And I think that was probably like the 5th or 6th game to the end of the season. I mean, right, I don't remember exactly, but very close to the end. And we knew they had to win like every game to get there.
Right.
And then the intensity, you know, I was in the press box as you know, for the Danny Salazar playoff game, and obviously they lost, but it was like a lot of excitement. That was a real fun stretch of baseball.
That was win number 5. And you knew they were going to have to stay hot, because it was them, the Rangers, and the Rays were
Right.
all bunched together, and only 2 of the teams were going to make the wild card game, and you didn't know who was going to host the game, and
Yeah, that's true.
so lo and behold, they needed to win all 10,
Yes, they did.
and then they end up hosting. I think the Rangers and Rays played a game 163 to determine who comes to Cleveland, and
Right.
yeah, I mean that was crazy. I actually remember that year I was covering the Indians and Ohio State football.
Oh, wow.
So, and at that time, I believe the weekly coaches press conference was on Tuesdays in Columbus.
Right.
So I went to that and then drove up to Cleveland to cover the Indians game that night.
Yeah.
And Rumby did that, and it was like it was just like sports nirvana at that,
Oh my God. Yeah.
like number one in the country, and it was just
Yeah.
it was great. So here's the thing. They've credit to the Guardians. I mean, we've crushed them all year, and
Yeah.
like they deserve some positive talk and attention, especially since I don't think anyone else is going to give them attention this
Right.
time of year in this town. So they went to Tampa. Tampa was sitting directly in front of them in the standings, and they basically booted Tampa to the back of the line.
Yep.
Kansas City comes here, and they've just completely shut down the Royals the first 2 games. The Royals were slightly ahead of them in the standings. Now the Royals are looking up at them, and if the Guardians win one more game in this series, the Royals are probably done officially. So the next team is the Rangers, and the Rangers have been playing great baseball, even though like all of their best players have gotten hurt recently.
Yeah.
And that you can't really worry about Texas because you're going to face them. You host them to end this.
Right.
So, that's when you can take care of business. So really for this exercise, let's just think about the Mariners, who have
Okay.
a 2.5 game lead. It's really a 2-game lead in the loss column, but then the Mariners also have the tiebreaker. So it's essentially
Right.
3 games.
Yeah. Yeah. And they had been playing terribly before this four. I think it's a 4-game winning streak they're on.
Yeah.
They had been playing. I think they had lost 16 of 20 before that.
And then
They seem to be riding the ship as Suarez and Naylor have finally started hitting for them.
Yeah, I mean their lineup. We've known their pitching staff
Yeah.
is really good. It's been really good for a long time. But their lineup, you look at the names, and it's like,
Yeah.
this team should be crushing people. And then over the weekend, they think they scored 28 runs in 2
Yep.
games against
Yep.
Atlanta.
Although
So
their pitching staff hasn't lived up to the names overall this year. Like Woo's been their best guy,
yeah,
and he's the least big name. But we know the talent they have there. They have a lot of talent. Like you look at Mariners versus Guardians on paper, the Mariners have a pretty big advantage.
hmm and they hold. They hold the season series 4-2.
Yeah.
So
Right.
so that could come into play. So the thing that I think gives me hope for the Guardians, and my prediction would be the Guardians hang around in this thing to the point where that last weekend they're hosting the Rangers, and it's like the Guardians need to sweep and they need the Mariners to get swept or
Right.
lose
So,
2 or 3 or
yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. And guess what? You know who the Mariners end with? The Los Angeles Dodgers.
Who are not playing well either, but they're going to need those games.
Right. So the Guardians have 2 more against Kansas City.
Yeah.
It feels like things are breaking Cleveland's way, where the one guy who I think would scare the Guardians, a guy who seems to always pitch well against them, is Michael Wacha. And
Yeah.
it just so happens that yesterday he landed on the concussion injured list
I saw that.
for something off the field, and they wouldn't say what it was.
Yeah.
So they're going to avoid him.
The White Sox are scrappy right now, Zach.
They're scrappy, but
Yeah.
like these are must-win games.
Yeah,
should
you gotta
be able
win
to
'em.
beat them, right? The Guardians go to Detroit next week. Obviously, that's not easy. Tigers could be in a position maybe to clinch the division at some point next week.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have 4 games in 3 days in Minnesota. The Twins are an absolute
disaster.
debacle. Yeah. I think did you see they lost to the Angels last night? Like, I saw the score was like 13-0 at one point or something.
I'd much rather play the Twins than the White Sox right now. Not that the White Sox are that good, but the White Sox are playing hard. They don't want to lose 100 games. They're trying to avoid losing 100 games, and they're playing for something. The Twins feel like they're done.
And then the Guardians, the last week of the season, they host the Tigers, who might have things wrapped up by then.
Yeah.
They're probably going to try to like line up Skubal to make sure he's ready to pitch their first playoff game. And then you host the Rangers for 3. And so that schedule is pretty favorable to me. I think
Yeah, you're right. If the Tigers have things clinched, I think it's going to be interesting to see. Yeah, obviously you don't want to face Scooble. I would think they'd pitch him the final weekend of the regular season because they don't want him to be too rested going into the playoffs, and they won't play until that
right.
Friday.
That's why I think you could avoid him.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so you've got what? How many games left? 18, you said?
18 and 19
I
days.
think I said coming into this week they had 20 left, and I said I think 14-6 is going to make things really interesting.
So you think 12 and 6? Yeah, that's why I think you got to go 12 and 6. That
Yeah.
might not be enough. I think any less than that, you have almost no chance. Go 14 and 4. You go 14 and 4, you're going to make it. Very likely.
So the Mariners have one more game against the Cardinals tonight.
Yep.
They have 4 at home against the Angels this weekend. That's
not good.
favorable for them. But it gets interesting. They go at Kansas City for 3.
Right.
How desperate are the Royals at that point? They're
Right.
supposed to get Cole Reagans back next
Yeah.
week. Then they go to Houston for 3. And that's the other part of this. The Astros are sort of falling apart.
Yes, they are.
And so the Mariners aren't dead I think they're 1 game back of the Astros in the West. So that's another thing to keep in mind.
That's true.
And then the last week's going to be interesting. The Mariners host the Rockies for 3,
Right.
which
that's the last team you want them playing.
Sure. But then, as we said, that Dodgers series to end things is going to be interesting. So again, I still don't think the Guardians are going to make it, but I think the schedule sets up, and then just the way that they're pitching right now sets up that I really think they're going to just hang around in this thing until the end. And, we've seen seasons like this. I remember 2014, they entered the last week of the season, like a few games out of the wild card, and they tried to promote it like, we're right in this thing. And, so we'll see. At least I didn't think that they would get to this point, when they were 40 and 48.
And you're right about it wouldn't shock me if a week from now we're not talking about the Mariners, we're talking about the Astros.
Yeah.
Because, and again, the Mariners hadn't been playing well before these last 4 games, so maybe they'll stub their toe again. But the Astros have been awful for a month now. And
they're really beat up, aren't they?
They have a huge injured list. But they still got, Hunter Brown and Framber Valdez at the top of the rotation. But they're dealing with a lot of injuries, some older players. Their bullpen's a mess right now.
Well, they had that pitcher
the Guardians
came back
just got to take care of business. They got to keep winning. If they take care of their business, if the Guardians win 12 to 14 games, which is a lot, especially 14, they got a good chance of making the playoffs one way or the other. Because whether it's Houston, Texas, or Seattle, you need 2 of those 3 teams to play crappy down the stretch.
Yeah. And again, the Guardians can contribute to the Rangers playing crappy by
That's right.
beating up on them that last series, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's a fun time of year when you're obviously, if you're a fan, you're focused on your team, but then you're scoreboard watching, and the Mariners are playing these late games, and you're looking at the box score at 12:30 in the morning to see if the Cardinals can mount a comeback in Seattle or something.
Yeah.
So it's fun. I think the key is just the Guardians. You got to keep the foot on the gas this week, right? The Royals seem like they're hanging on by a thread. I mean, they couldn't touch Saccone or Cantillo, and so now put them away.
Yeah,
and then take care of business
banged
against
up,
Chicago.
although he was back last night, obviously. What's amazing, it's not like the offense has been that much better. I mean, certainly power-wise, they have. I mean, you still have only 2 players with more than 11 home runs on the team. So, all right, Zach, I'm going to throw this at you. Who will finish 3rd on the Guardians in home runs this year? You got right now, you got Carlos Santana, no longer on the team with 11. Daniel Schneemann has 11. Bo Naylor has 11. Angel Martinez has 10. Stephen Kwan has 10. Arias, who's banged up, has 10. And I'll throw in David Fry with 7. Who you got finishing?
Boy, There's so
Who's
many good
finishing third in
options
homers?
here. I'll give me Bo Naylor.
Wow, it's
I'll say
bold.
he finishes with 13.
Well, I mean, per at bat, he's the best guy, right? I mean, he has the least amount of at bats of all those guys with 10 or 11 home runs. Although David Fry per at bat actually is better, but he's too far off the pace. He'd have to hit like 5-6 home runs. I don't think he's averaging one homer every 3 days. So you're going Bo Naylor with how many? Will he hit 2 more the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think 13 is the magic number.
13. Will 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 Jose Ramirez get 4 more ribbies to get to 80? I think he will. Will he get to 90?
No, but I'm waiting for him to get to, he's going to have a 30 homer, 30 double, 40 stolen base season.
That's pretty amazing.
It's pretty impressive at the age of, he's about to turn 33. So,
Yep. He's unbelievable. The guy, what's the thing about about the Ramirez? He's probably never going to win an MVP, but he's going to finish in the top 5 or 6 like 10 times probably. But when the time it's all said and done,
which is more. I mean, that's there have been guys who win an MVP out of nowhere.
That's true,
and you never hear from them again.
That's true.
I mean, his steadiness is just incredible.
Yeah, I believe he's been in the top 6 MVP since he's been, since he established himself as an all-star more than any player in the league. I'll have to double check that because I remember saying a stat similar to that last year. I want to make sure it's still true.
Yeah, he's tracking right now to finish like 3rd or 4th, I think.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Which is where
who would you vote for right now? Would you vote for Judge?
Yeah, so I have a vote.
Yeah.
So I can't
say.
explicitly say what I'm thinking, but I was looking at this the other day and
Raleigh has really tailed off.
He has tailed off.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, oh, this might not be as difficult as I thought. And then I just so happened to talk yesterday to Salvador Perez.
Interesting. That must have been fun.
To hear what he thinks. And I was asking him about Raleigh, and he's Cal Raleigh's biggest fan.
Yeah.
Cal Raleigh broke his record for home runs by a catcher in a season. I think Perez had like 48 or 49 a few years ago, and Raleigh's is he still at 51, I think?
I believe so, but I'll double check.
And Salvador was like I didn't even ask him about the MVP race, and he just goes, Cal Raleigh is the MVP. People don't realize everything a catcher has to do, how your body feels. You're absorbing how many foul balls per night into your legs, your arms, your chest, and that stuff can affect your swing. Like you're compensating, your shoulder hurts because you took a foul ball that missed your chest protector. And guys go into slumps when they have pain like that because you're compensating and you don't have your normal swing mechanics. And he is not only has Raleigh defied all of that, but also he's a switch hitter. And he won a platinum glove last year. He's a really good defender. And so Salvador Perez didn't hesitate. And he was like, look, I love Aaron Judge. What he's doing is incredible. But if people really understood how much is on a catcher's plate, I think they'd come to respect Raleigh. I don't know that testimonial is going to sway my decision. Ultimately, I'll have to see what the numbers say. I think it helps both teams. The Yankees and the Mariners are playoff teams, it looks like. So that helps both cases too. But
Raleigh leads the majors with 53 home runs. Kyle Schwarber hit his 50th last night. Yeah, he's 53. Schwarber 50, Ohtani 48, Suarez 45, Judge 44, and then Junior Caminero with 41. By the way, the National League MVP between Schwarber, Ohtani, and I think Soto's got to be in the mix.
But the crazy thing is, so on an MVP ballot, you have to fill out 10 spots.
Oh, wow.
Cy Young's only 5. Everything else is 3, but MVP is 10.
Yeah.
I was looking at this the other day, and in the National League, I'm with you. Schwarber, Ohtani, and Soto in some order. Trey Turner maybe is up there because he's the only National Leaguer hitting 300. After that, good luck filling out 10 spots.
I know. I remember
it's nobody's having a good season.
I was at the All-Star break. I thought Pete Crow Armstrong was the MVP, but he's been hideous in the second half, as has every other Cubs hitter.
I mean, you're going to get Geraldo Perdomo on some ballots.
Corbin Carroll.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, it's a huge drop after those top three guys, and you could put those top three in any order. I mean, Schwarber's got. I know we don't, love old school stats, but 123 ribbies already. I mean, he might finish with 140 RBIs.
Yeah, some of us were around for Manny Ramirez's 165 RBI season, so that doesn't seem as impressive.
Unbelievable. 165 RBIs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's Nico Horner, your boy, ranks 14th in the National League in WAR. So I don't.
Yeah, I'm not voting for. And I love Nico, but I'm not voting for him for MVP.
It's or like Kyle Tucker, but Kyle Tucker's injured now. So
and Kyle Tucker's been awful in the second half of the season.
Yeah, so it's horrible. It's really strange. Like
none of the Cubs deserve MVP votes.
Lindor's having, I think, an okay season for Lindor, and like he'll probably wind up like 5th.
Yeah, I mean, where are you putting Junior Caminero on the American League ballot? Like, what are you thinking there?
Yeah, I mean, he's been impressive. I don't know how much. I have to study like what that ballpark in Tampa has done for hitters this season, because I think there's a bit of an advantage. But it's you'll have Judge and Raleigh at the top. I think like Witt and Ramirez are the next tier, and then there's like, I don't know, probably Vlad, Springer, Caminero, maybe Michael Garcia.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's a weird year. Like,
right.
There's like no Tigers on the list. Like Zach McKinstry leads their position players in WAR.
It's funny.
I'm trying to think of like the good teams. Like Jeremy Pena has had a really good year for Houston, but he's missed so much time. So.
Right. It feels like that Bobby Witt Jr. hasn't, like, his traditional stats aren't as impressive. 21 homers, 77 ribbies. He hasn't been quite as good this year as he's been in years past. But the OPS is still really good. The WAR is still really good. Pete Crow Armstrong's still second in the league in majors in WAR, isn't he? At least on the ESPN list I'm on.
Yeah, he's been really good defensively.
Yeah, but his hitting.
Yeah, Witt and Ramirez, their numbers are like identical.
Yeah, and they're both, obviously, in terms of traditional stats and the RBIs, they're both hurt by terrible offense around them.
They've both played 139 games.
Yeah.
Witt's hitting 294, Ramirez 283. Witt 352 on base, Ramirez 357. Witt 503 slugging, Ramirez 501. 77 RBIs for Witt, 75 for Ramirez. 90 runs scored for Witt, 89 for Ramirez. 34 stolen bases for Witt, 37 for Ramirez. Like they're like identical. So maybe just say whoever finishes higher in the standings gets third.
Yeah. Is this going to be the least amount of 300 hitters in a season?
We were talking about that in a company meeting the other day, because like the National League has Trey Turner's the only qualified guy on track, I think.
Right.
And I think didn't he just go on the injured list?
He did.
So will he remain qualified if he misses the rest of the year?
I'm not sure. Probably, because he's got over 600 plate appearances.
Okay, then yeah. But in the American League, you've got 6 guys, and 2 of them are hitting 301. So,
yeah, I mean, right. Well, yeah. I mean, Guerrero's hitting 304, Pena 303, and Springer 300 now after last night.
Oh, is that maybe Fangraphs isn't updated?
Off the top of your head, I don't know if you happen to know this. I could probably, if you don't know it, I could probably give you 100 guesses as to who's the second in the National League in batting average, and you wouldn't get it, probably.
It's not Geraldo Perdomo?
No. Perdomo is... Perdomo is... No, he's 10th.
Is this someone on the Brewers?
It is.
Bryce Terang?
No, but he's 6th.
Is it... Who else on that? Isaac Collins?
No. Wrong random Brewer.
One of their outfielders, Sal Frelick.
Sal Frelick is batting 2.9. He's tied with Freddie Freeman, but I think he's like, percentage points ahead of they're both hitting 295.
It seems funny because they're gonna there's so much. All these teams are just congested, right?
Yeah.
In both leagues, like even the Dodgers couldn't separate themselves. The Brewers are the one team that has separated themselves like all summer.
but nobody believes in them.
Nobody. Everyone's going to pick them to lose in the
But
division.
their rotation is looking really good right now, and their closers on the injured list. They don't have a lot of sexy names on that team, and they deserve to be doubted because they've not done well in the playoffs. Man, that's such a good organization, the Brewers. And they just seem like to be able to turn random dudes on offense into, good, solid players.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. All right, we'll get some fan comments here. Before we do that, we got to get a message from FanDuel.
That's right, Bull. The NFL season is here. Week 1 in the books, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. How do you want to use them? Player props. You can build a same-game parlay. You can jump in live as the action unfolds. Maybe you think the Browns kicker is going to rebound in week 2, and they're about to set up for a field goal, and you take the Browns with the points or whatever you want to do. There's so much at your fingertips. So if you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com/UCSS to get started. That's FanDuel.com/UCSS to place your first $5 bet.
All right, Zach. Good job out of you. Let's get rid of this. By the way, while we're talking about awards, there's a debate who should win the AL MVP. There's a debate who should win the NL MVP. In terms of the Cy Young, do you think Skubal now has it in the bag?
Yeah, I think so.
Right?
What do you do with Chapman?
I've never been a big let's vote a closer for Cy Young. I was against it last year with Clase. I'm against it this year with Chapman.
So I'd only ask because last year, obviously, Clase finished 3rd, but there wasn't a great field of candidates.
There is this year.
I kind of think Chapman's having a better season than Clase did last year. His ERA is slightly higher, but he hasn't a lot of hits since March. It's insane.
That is crazy.
But there's a better, Crochet's having a good year. Hunter Brown's been really good. I'm guessing those are the 3 finalists, and maybe Max Fried is 4th.
Fried has seemed to bounce back here lately.
Brian Wu.
Right? Rodon, maybe. You think Gavin Williams gets any down ballot votes if he finishes strong?
Probably not.
Okay.
So he ranks 9th in ERA.
Yep.
But you only get to pick 5 on your ballot, so
yeah,
probably not.
No, fair enough. American League Rookie of the Year is in the bag. National League Rookie. What's that?
The Big Amish? Isn't that his nickname?
Is that what they call him, Nick Kurtz?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I think it's from where he grew up in Pennsylvania.
Oh. The National League Rookie of the Year, I don't know how much you're paying attention to that, but you got Drake Baldwin of the Braves has been really good. Cade Horton of the Cubs he's got an ERA under 3 now. Misarowski has struggled a little down the stretch, but obviously got off that magnificent start. This Nolan McLean's been unbelievable for the Mets, but I don't think he's going to pitch enough to get votes there. National League Cy Young, it's got to be scoopable, right? I know there's some old school voters that still pay attention to wins, which is insane to me, but I think there's not enough of those guys at this point, right?
Yeah, I think so. So the way the voting works is the chapter president in each city doles out the votes. So you have two voters in each city for each award. So in Cleveland, there are 2 Cleveland writers voting for MVP, 2 for Cy Young, 2 for et cetera, et cetera. So the president will pick who votes for what based on how entrenched you are on the beat. The people who are there every day and they travel are the ones who tend to get MVP, and then people who show up, 30 times a year get rookie of the year, let's say. So point is, a lot of times, like, you would hope that the people who are voting for Cy Young and MVP are more knowledgeable because they're around a lot more.
Mhm.
And it doesn't always mean that you have moved on from just wins and losses dictating what you vote for as a pitcher. But, um, I would hope that in 2025 we've evolved our
Yeah.
thinking.
I just don't like. I know you can. Freddie Peralta's second in ERA in the National League. He's got 16 wins. He might finish with 18. Some guy. I just think you're right. At this point, I can't imagine anybody's. Skeens has got his ERA is 198. He's got a WHIP
Wasn't
of
there a
090.
year like Felix Hernandez won and he was like
Yeah,
12-12 or something, or
yeah, that was the
Greinke
turning
won?
point. Yeah, that was the turning point. Matthew Boyd could get a couple of down ballot votes.
He's been awesome.
Yeah. Nick Pavetta of all people has been pretty good. Zach Wheeler, but he was hurt. All right, let's get to some comments from the fans. Jumping back here to the Guardians and their chances here down the stretch. Big J Bone says, "Good morning, fellas." John says, 6 against Detroit, 4 with Minnesota, 3 White Sox, 3 Rangers. We love playing the Central. We beat Texas. We're in. All right, I like the confidence there. Jack says, let's go. Either way, I'm just excited to have meaningful September baseball for another season.
Yeah, I hope that that's not what the team leans on at the end of the year if they fall short, where it's like,
Yeah.
well, we played meaningful September baseball. That's the
I know.
goal. And like,
Yeah, no,
no, this shows that if you would have actually addressed the issues everybody could see
yep.
existed coming into the season, you might not be sweating this out.
Yes, that's a good point. Yeah. If they had done a little more, it looks like on the offense, the team could have very easily made the playoffs. Somebody asked me why Manzardo didn't play yesterday. Is there a legitimate reason? There can't be.
Yeah, I mean, he's gone from never playing against lefties to now sometimes playing against lefties. Right. And my hunch is they just didn't like the matchup. If you look at Noah Cameron's numbers last night, like, the Guardians could not touch his slider. And it's still silly that you had like Nolan Jones in the lineup, who's a lefty batting sixth, but I think I don't think they liked the matchup.
All right,
I'm not defending it. I'm just telling you what.
I don't accept that, but you're right.
I don't either. I'm with you.
But Nolan Jones had his 5 home runs all season, and I know John Kenzie's a righty, but I don't think he's gotten a hit the entire season. So Big J Bone, favorite all-time Guardians, Indians. He says it's between Bell and Lofton and Baerga and Brooke Jacoby. Brooke Jacoby getting a vote for favorite all-time Indian/Guardian. I didn't expect that today. John says he'll root for Josh Naylor when he goes wherever he goes, minus the Yankees, Red Sox, Cubs, Dodgers, Tigers. He will not root for.
Can you imagine if the Yankees signed him after he did the rock the baby to Garrett Cole? And
that's not going to happen. I don't see that. He's not going to the Cubs. They don't need a first baseman.
I'm so excited to see what kind of contract he gets.
Yeah.
His numbers look great this year. OPS is over 800. He's hitting for average.
Home runs.
He's got 19. So if he ends with, but he was the 31 was out of character last year. He was always more like the year before. He hit 308 with 17 homers. So, if he ends with 30 stolen bases and 20 homers and hits for average, and he never strikes out, like that's
true. Nobody's going to look at the stolen base thing as sustainable, but
it's hard to steal 30 bases by accident, though.
It's crazy that he is tied for 19th in the majors in stolen bases.
It's funny when you look at, I think we did an article on it a couple weeks ago, and it was over the last like 2 or 3 months or something. The stolen base leaders were like Bobby Witt Jr., Ellie De La Cruz, and Josh Naylor. And those are like 2 of the fastest guys you've ever seen. And then this dude.
Jose Ramirez tied for third in steals with 37. Caballero has 43, but he barely ever plays.
Hmm.
He's starts once or twice a week for the Yankees. And the Naylor thing, I mean, how old is he now?
He's young too. That's the thing, because he broke into the big leagues pretty early. So he just turned 28.
Yeah, it is. It's so weird.
So that's the thing. Like, do I think he's going to age gracefully? No. Like, does he eventually just become a DH in a few years? But like, would you give him a 3-year deal? Like, you'll have him for his age, what, 28, 29, 30 seasons?
Yeah.
Like, that's not.
But
I'm
here's
not
the
really
thing.
worried about him at the age of 30.
No, but the thing is, it's something about first baseman. They just like Pete Alonso's better than Naylor, and he couldn't get a deal last year.
Yeah.
And
But
weird.
What did Alonso eventually get? Didn't he get like 30 million a year?
Well, but it's essentially a 1-year deal because
Right. But for Naylor's not going to get 30 million.
No, that's true. You're right. That's a different level. Yeah, I could see him getting like a 2-year, $50 million deal.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
I was thinking like 3. Remember what Santana signed with the Phillies, 3 for 60, and then that's what the Guardians or the Indians gave Encarnacion. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. He actually the Red Sox could be interesting. They don't really have a first baseman, right? I mean, who's their first baseman?
Casas is hurt.
He missed the whole, and they picked up Nathaniel Lowe, but they've been talking about moving Casas for a while, or not. I don't know if they've been talking about it, but there's been rumors about it. So he could be an interesting fit there in that lineup,
Yeah, we ran him out of town and said he was overweight, and look, he was not happy that the Guardians did not want to entertain contract extension talks, because he would have signed here. And I don't know. I think he's
the
been
type
out
of
to
player they
prove
could have
that,
afforded, Zach. He's the type of player that they could have afforded.
and I think he's out to prove that.
Oh yeah,
like he's still got a lot left to
yeah.
offer,
Good
and
for
I
him,
think
man. He's turned himself into a hell of a player. What he's doing with the stolen, and I do enjoy the stolen bases because he's on my fantasy team, helping lead me to a championship for the second year in a row.
It always comes back to fantasy, and you know
what?
Yeah, does. I noticed you haven't mentioned the UCSS fantasy football league yet.
Did I play you?
No, because you would have been licking your wounds.
Yeah, well, I'm licking my wounds anyway. I lost. I went 0-5 in all my fantasy leagues, which for football. I think it's the first time it's ever happened. You got a victory.
Well, don't just gloss over this.
Okay, go ahead.
Did you see how many points my team
scored? I didn't see it.
With your zany rules and settings and scoring.
Well, Earl said to me, "Can we set it up so it's really high scoring?" And I was like, "Okay, we'll do 1 point for every 5 yards, so that's going to create a lot of scoring."
Yeah.
And instead of with quarterbacks, it's usually 1 point for 25 yards. I got it set for 1 point for 15 yards with quarterbacks now.
So my team, Spurgeon's wins.
Yeah.
We scored 279 points.
Ooh-hoo.
And that's more than anybody else in the league.
Impressive.
I beat my opponent by 126.
Oh my God, by 126.
I played Anthony.
Oof. Anthony.
So
I'm gonna have to. We're gonna have to talk about this.
Just make sure on the big show, if you guys mention this, you need to mention who's sitting up top, and
that's impressive, Zach. Yeah. But remember, it's not how you start; it's how you finish. Who was your highlight player? I mean, at that scoring point, you probably had a few of them, but who was the best of the bunch?
Yeah, I mean, the strategy is so different, and I'm glad I called you 30 seconds before the draft just to double check if I was thinking along the correct lines here, because we've got the super flex. So you've got Lamar Jackson had a good game, but I snagged Justin Fields pretty late, and I was surprised he lasted as long as he did, just given how valuable he could be in a league like this where you can play him in the flex.
Justin Fields is the perfect example of way better fantasy quarterback than NFL quarterback.
Yeah. So, those two will be a godsend for me. And
Well, you got a high floor on those quarterbacks because both run, obviously.
Yep.
Lamar's a superstar, so you're not worried about the floor there. But like even when Fields, well, there'll be games where he's just a mess throwing the ball, but he'll still get you that
Right.
good floor of the running game, and especially in a league where it's 1 point for every 5 yards, so it's even a bigger advantage with the running quarterbacks. Yeah. So congratulations on your week 1 victory.
my week 1 win.
That's
We're
big.
throwing a parade here. So.
Yeah. Last thing, Big J Bone says, what the hell happened to Lane Thomas?
Yeah, so
Is he actually coming back in these last couple of weeks? No, he's done.
So he had started a rehab assignment last week, and he played a couple games, and then he was supposed to play on Sunday, and he felt pain again. So he talked to the manager. They scratched him, and I think they're running more tests and looking into this. But yeah, I mean, anyone who's had plantar fasciitis in your foot, like I've heard, it's just a thing that can linger and nag at you, and it's this is what he's. I mean, this has been the season from hell for him.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Like even if he were here, would you really play him at this point?
No. Well, that's the thing. It's like even if he was healthy, he needed probably a 2-week rehab stint, and then it was going to be like, okay, come back for the last 10 days and play part time. But the fact that he's limping in the clubhouse yesterday, and it's like, okay, well, even if you get back to a rehab assignment, like the calendar is going to run out. So for a guy who's headed to free agency, this could not have gone worse this season for him, and we'll see what that means.
By the way, if the Guardians do make the playoffs, they will probably play the AL West champ, right? Because that team is likely to be the 3 seed.
Yep.
The Guardians are likely to be the 6 seed. So all these teams we're talking about, the Astros, Mariners, Rangers, that we're talking about, like, can they get in? They got to move ahead of 2 of those 3 teams.
And the one they don't move ahead of is the one they'll play.
Likely the team they would play.
Best of 3 at their ballpark.
Yeah.
And for the love of God, please don't let that be Seattle, because that's a long way to go for a short series.
Yeah, it's definitely the place I'd like to live of those 3 if I had to choose. But
yeah, I mean, it's going to be like, that's again, like this is fantasy land at this point, but there is a scenario here. Like they get the 3rd wild card.
Yeah.
You don't know that they get the 3rd wild card until the last day of the season. So that's on the Sunday. And then I've got to fly to Houston Monday, and they play Houston Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe Thursday. And if they win that series, then they're going to Toronto or Detroit the day after that. And it's like, yeah, these are there's a small chance, but there's a small chance that
there's even a possibility that you could play the Rangers to end the season and then play the Rangers to start the playoffs. They're only 2.5 games out of the division lead right now. If we're counting the Guardians in the mix for the wild card, we got to count the Rangers in the mix for the division.
Well, it also could just be that last series, Texas coming here to Cleveland, could just be basically a playoff series.
Yeah.
And like the loser's eliminated and the winner's the 3rd wild card and goes on to play whoever wins the West.
What would really be fascinating is if it's the division still up in the air for the Rangers then, and the wild card for both the Rangers and Guardians. That would be a fun weekend with the Mariners as playing the Dodgers, and I don't know who the Astros playing that final weekend. Hopefully they're playing somebody good too.
I think they end pretty light, if I recall.
They will end. Oh God, their last week, the A's and the Angels, their last 6 games. So that's a big advantage for them. But between now and then, they got 2 more with Toronto, Atlanta, who's not terrible, it's not Athletics and Angels, but not very good. Then they got 3 with Texas and 3 with Seattle. Now those 6 games are at home, but that's going to be fascinating. The American League West and the American League, and by the way, it seemed like everything was set. The National League wild card with the Mets have been playing lousy. That's not over yet either. Because the Mets are only 2 up on the Giants, who've been playing a lot better. And the other Ohio team, the Reds, who just have kind of been like the Guardians. They've just been kind of middling all year. Even different, like the Guardians have been a middling where they've kind of been hot and cold and hot and cold. The Reds have just been I feel like they go
Just win one, lose one,
1-1
win one, lose
every
one.
2
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
I feel like they haven't had a hot streak or a cold streak, but they got a shot with Tito. You never know. 3 games out, 3 games behind the Mets. It's possible. Who do the Reds play the rest of the season? Reds got they got one more at San Diego. Then they got the A's and Cardinals on the road. Then the Cubs and Pirates at home, and then the Brewers on the road.
The Brewers probably won't care about that last series.
Probably not. The Brewers should have everything locked up. I mean, the Brewers, how far ahead are they for the top seed? I mean,
3.5 games over the Phillies.
Okay, so that's not over yet. And the Phillies are playing well. But and they got swept by the Mets like 2 weeks ago, and since then they've been great. And that's with Turner and who else went on the injury list?
Alec Baum, maybe?
Yeah, I think Alec Baum was the other one. Yeah. All right, folks. Well, season ain't over yet. It's been a slog this year.
Is the Browns season over? 2-6, 5-7.
I mean, they find new ways to lose, don't they? I mean, that was you can't play a better second half on defense.
No.
Cannot. That is as great a performance as I've seen in a half of football on defense, and they lost the game.
Yeah, I think we're gonna look back and say, like, that's when you had to have. If you play that well,
Yeah,
you can't lose that. But
now,
it depends what you think this season's about.
I mean, the positive is the rookies were impressive. That was the positive.
That's the main takeaway.
All right, folks. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. When Brett says the division is not out of reach, let's not get nuts. They're what are they, 8.5 out?
So they're 8.5 out, but they have 6 left with the Tigers. If you win all 6, maybe
that's true. You're right. You have to win all 6, though. You can't even 5-1. You gain 4 games. That's not going to be enough. And the Tigers have righted the ship after they had struggled for a while. They just smoked the Yankees last night.
Let's check
hey, you got it. As you said, if they win all, they got to win all 6. If they win all 6, I'll give them a puncher's chance.
Well, FanGraphs says the Tigers' chances to win the AL Central are 99.6%, and they give the Guardians 0.4.
So that means if you played the season 1,000 times, they'd win Division 4, or is that more than? Is it 10,000 times and they win 4? I think if it's 99.6, that's 1,000 times, right?
We could have wrapped this up before. Making
you do math now, Zach.
Look like we're terrible at math.
Yeah.
It says the Guardians still have a 0.1% chance of clinching a first-round bye. How would that happen?
Okay,
if run the table?
They'd have right, because if they won the division, right? For the Guardians to win the division, let's say they'd probably have to go 17-2. Let's say 17-2.
Well, they have 18 games left. So if they go 16-2, then they're 90-72, and the Tigers would have to go.
Well, but I'm saying they would, if they win the division, they probably would get a bye because that American League West team would probably be behind them.
Okay, yeah.
As long as the Guardians do not lose the rest of the year.
Well, it says 0.2% chance to win the World Series.
I love it.
So there you go.
I would have said 0.0 as recently as a week ago. So, yeah. I'm excited that you're still alive, because we thought these last few shows were just going to be
correct.
I thought they could be under 500. And
what are we talking about? Are we talking about like who would you have in next year's rotation? And
right. Yeah. We talked about it briefly, but like Ciccone and Cantillo both did a great job. Obviously, Ciccone overall hasn't had a very good season. He's had his ups and downs, but yeah, you're right. Cantillo's pitched really well.
I'll tell you, like Stephen Vogt got a little emotional last night. I asked him just about watching the development before your eyes, like seeing Cantillo have this start that is meaningful too. It's not like you're playing out the string and you go 8 scoreless against, another non-contender.
Right.
Like these games matter. There's added pressure. And Vogt he got a little choked up, and he was talking about how they sent Cantillo to AAA and said, your stuff is good. You need to just throw strikes. Throw it over the plate. He's got like the worst chase rate in the league. he has a really high walk rate, and it's because he nibbles, because his fastball's 92 miles an hour. So I don't want to belabor the point here, but they send him to AAA. They say attack the strike zone. He comes up.
Yeah,
he did exactly that against Boston.
he
He
did.
threw 72 of 92 pitches last night for strikes. Right. So I talk about acing a test. And I just love what
efficient.
Stephen Vogt said, where he was like, quote, now Joey knows he has that in him. And once you know you have that in you, it can be super powerful. It's like that just forever raises your confidence. You can always lean on what you did last night. You're struggling moving forward. You can tell yourself, hey, I've done this. I've done this in a meaningful moment that helped us stay alive in this playoff race.
Last 4 starts for Cantillo going back to August 9th. 24 2/3, 17 hits allowed, 3 runs, 1 homer, 7 walks, 20 strikeouts. An ERA of what? 3 runs in 24, 20, it's just over 1. I mean, he's been fantastic.
He's had a lot thrown at him. He started the year in the
Yeah.
bullpen. They stretched him out. Remember, Luis Ortiz gets booted. They're scrambling for a starter at Wrigley Field. They need one the next day. They call on Cantillo. He wasn't fully stretched out yet. He gets thrown into the rotation. They send him back down. They call, he's rolled with the punches, and he's got a 3.36 ERA.
And he's young. I think some people might think, well, he's older than some of the. He's 25. I mean, he's a young guy. I didn't realize he was from Hawaii. I don't know why I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think the Big Island. So this is, we talked about it all year, but you're finally getting young guys taking steps forward. It's something you can build off of, and it just so happens that it's contributing to you staying alive in this race.
Right. All right, folks. This time we're going to go. Love you all. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next Wednesday, same time, 9 a.m. Until then, thanks for joining us on the Ultimate Cleveland Guardian Show.